Face-offs in hockey can seem confusing, but they don't have to be. Welcome back to Breaking the Ice, the series where I'm teaching you everything you need to know to be a hockey fan this season. And as soon as I started this series, one of the most frequent questions I got was about face-offs. So let's talk about how they work, why they come up in a game, and why sometimes you see hockey players kicked out of the face-off circle. Face-offs in hockey come up pretty frequently, so much so that the NHL named an entire docu-series after it. They're not only how we start the game, but it's also how we come back to the game after a stoppage. Now, face-offs can happen in 9 different places on the ice. Obviously, we have the first face-off, which happens right at center ice, but we also have 4 other places inside the neutral zone, which are these 4 circles on the ice, and then on each offensive zone, we have 2 face-off circles. These are the big red circles that you see on either side of the ice. The dot that you see in the center is where the puck is actually dropped for a face-off. When it comes to a face-off, we have 2 players that are in that face-off. Their teammates either have to be directly lateral to them or behind them in this face-off, and usually what you'll see players try to do in the face-off is pull the puck backwards towards their teammates. Whichever team ends up with possession of the puck after the face-off is what we call winning the face-off. And then as soon as the face-off is over, we go straight back into regular play. Now, when does a face-off actually come up? Obviously, we start every game with a face-off, as well as the beginning of the other 2 periods. But we also have face-offs for various calls. Whenever we have an icing call, for example, we have a face-off in the defensive zone of whichever team committed the icing call, which is to essentially punish the fact that you tried to dump the puck on the other side and gives the other team an offensive advantage because the face-off takes place on the side that they are trying to score on. And generally speaking, we just have a face-off anytime there's a stoppage in play. Certain calls mean that the face-off takes place at various different parts of the ice, but any stoppage in play means that we're going to have a face-off to start the game again. Now, why do players get kicked out of the face-off by the refs and have to be replaced by their teammate? This can happen for a number of reasons that all come down to trying to gain an advantage illegally in the face-off. Some of those reasons are trying to move too early, incorrect stick positioning, making contact with your opponent. The face-off player is kicked out of the circle and has to be replaced by one of his teammates. However, the most common issue is that you move too soon. You can't move before the puck is dropped. So most of the time when you're seeing a player getting kicked out of that face-off circle, it's just because they flinched a little early. Face-offs are all about reaction time, getting control of the puck, and getting it to your teammate. So that's why they can seem pretty scrappy, and sometimes watching it can feel a little bit like button mashing on a controller. But I promise you, there is an intention, there is a strategy behind it. We just use face-offs in general to reset the game after the game is stopped. And of course, if you have any other questions about hockey in general, make sure to drop them in the comments down below so that I can include them in the rest of this basic series. Be sure to follow along for the rest of Breaking the Ice, as well as commentary and big news stories throughout the hockey season.